And welcome to the Breaking Apart tutorial. Now, I almost didn't include this project because it could be a little bit advanced for some users, but I wanted to go ahead and include it and just sort of walk you through and show you some of the techniques that I used so you could apply the same effects to your own images that you have. All I did was just went to istockphoto.com and I picked up a stock image of this woman, and then I gathered together a couple textures. And that's all I really used to create this image. If I go into the Adobe Bridge, you can see clearly that I just have these three images right here that I used for this project. You can go into the Breaking Apart folder inside the Project Files folder on this DVD, and you'll find these three images right here. And you'll also find the completed image. And you can use or open up this image here to walk along with me through this tutorial. So the first thing I'm going to do is deconstruct this image so you can see exactly how I created it. And then later on I'll show you some techniques that you can use to create this breaking apart effect. I'm going to go over to the layers palette, and you can see here that I have several layers. What I'm going to start to do is start making these layers invisible, just one by one. I'm going to remove the color overlays and the shadow. And what you'll start to see happen here is I'm going to reveal the original image. I'm removing the textures and the masking and some of the other larger pieces on the image, some of the shadows and the image adjustments here. And now we're back to our original image. And this is just what I started with. I created a backdrop layer, covered her face completely with black, but I also cut her face out, placed it on a layer above that, and then I started selecting parts of her head and just spread out the pieces along. And then I went ahead and did some other masking to her eyes and added some shadows and some other pieces floating in the air. I wanted to create this illusion like the pieces were just floating off, just gradually, like she was just falling apart or breaking apart, and the pieces were just flowing in the air, and they started to flow out and then start to come towards you. As you can see that I added these larger pieces here, so it looks like the pieces are going back and then they're sort of coming around. I'll go ahead and move this over a little bit. Yeah, as you can see, these looks like it's sort of coming around. And then I applied some textures to it. I wanted to get that whole grungy type of look to it, almost like a porcelain doll type of look, or something where she doesn't really look human. It could be like a robot or a creature or something, I don't know. But I also added some dirt textures, like some cracked mud texture in there. And I'm missing this bottom. Let's see here. There we go. And then I added some color overlays to make everything blend in, because you can see I didn't want to leave that glamour makeup on her face there, because I just figured that wouldn't look very futuristic. So I decided to go ahead and just apply these blending overlays here, these different colors, over the entire image. So everything just blended in really nicely like that. And then I did some masking on the top of the head here, just to get that nice rounded top part of her head. Yeah, so that's pretty much how I created the effect. But those are all the layers on the completed project, so you can see how I put all this together. But the most difficult part is creating this breakout effect here. It's to make it look like these pieces are just coming off her head here. I'll just go ahead and get rid of these textures. This is just the layer with the woman's head and the pieces that are breaking out there. So let me show you how I started this and how I achieved this effect. I'll just go ahead and move this out of the way.